A judge not only flatly rejected Donald Trump's desperate attempt to sidestep a recent verdict in a case accusing him of sexual abuse, but actually further clarified that the jury found him guilty of rape. Intrigued? Then click that like, subscribe, and the alert bell, and maybe check out my Patreon, and enjoy the video. You know, it's important to remember that the legal miasma surrounding Donald Trump doesn't just concern his stupid and bad faith, but multifaceted attempt to overturn the 2020 election and steal the presidency from Joe Biden. It also concerns, for example, a civil case, not just the indictments coming from the New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the potential cases coming from the New York Attorney General regarding the Trump Organization, but also a really, really gross civil case that he lost a few months ago against E. Jean Carroll. So E. Jean Carroll is a woman who accused Donald Trump of raping her in the mid-1990s in a Manhattan department store. And he was found liable for sexual abuse and defamation as a result of that civil case. Now, because it's a civil case, there was a dollar penalty, punitive damages associated with the verdict, but there wasn't the threat of jail time. He was ordered to pay $5 million. And Trump, being Trump, of course, tried to appeal the case and try to get a new trial. And a judge flatly rejected his attempts at getting a new trial and further clarified the extent to what the jury found Donald Trump guilty of. So Reuters has an article on a federal judge on Wednesday rejected Donald Trump's request for a new trial after a jury found the former U.S. president liable for sexually abusing and defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll and awarded her $5 million. Kaplan said the unanimous May 9th verdict was almost entirely in favor of Ms. Carroll and neither a serious erroneous result nor a miscarriage of justice, because Trump also tried to get the damages reduced, I think, from $5 million down to $2 million. Carroll, 79, accused Trump, 77, of raping her in a Manhattan department store dressing room in the mid-1990s and defaming her when he branded the incident a hoax in the October 2022 post on his Truth Social platform. She's also pursuing a $10 million defamation lawsuit against Trump over comments he made in the White House in June 19th after she first accused him of forcing himself upon her in the Bergdorf Goodman store. E. Jean Carroll was the one that Trump tactlessly, disgustingly said was not his type, suggesting that he would have sexually abused her or assaulted her or raped her had she been his type. Not only was it tactless and disgusting, it was also kind of a self-own. He was telling on himself in his own way. But also, and this is the really, really sobering part, it's going to be interesting to see how Trump and his surrogates and other Republicans try to defend or downplay this. Judge Kaplan also clarified that when the jury found him guilty of sexual abuse, they found him guilty of rape. As is shown in the following notes, the definition of rape in the New York penal law is far narrower than the meaning of rape in common modern parlance. Its definition in some dictionaries, in some federal state criminal statutes, and elsewhere. The finding that Ms. Carroll failed to prove that she was raped within the meaning of the New York penal law does not mean that she failed to prove that Mr. Trump raped her, as many people commonly understand the word rape. Indeed, as the evidence at trial recounted below makes clear, the jury found that Mr. Trump, in fact, did exactly that. So let's be very clear. Because this is a civil case, what the judge is saying is that E. Jean Carroll perhaps did not prove the case to the satisfaction of the New York penal law, right, in the sense of a criminal case. That would have been a separate case. Perhaps she would have made the case successfully, perhaps not. But what does matter in terms of this civil case, she did prove to the satisfaction of a jury that in terms of common parlance, the way that people conventionally use the term rape, that Donald Trump did that. So let's be very clear what this means. As far as this judge is concerned, and as far as the jury of Donald Trump's peers in the civil case who issued a verdict back in May, Donald Trump not only sexually abused E. Jean Carroll, not only defamed E. Jean Carroll, but in terms of the specificity of the sexual abuse, he raped her, as far as the jury is concerned. And that's an incredibly, not only is it a vile act, but think about the political implications for this. Donald Trump is the frontrunner for the Republican Party in terms of their presidential nomination for 2024. And this federal judge is clarifying that as far as, again, the jury in this civil case is concerned, he's guilty of rape. and he's the front runner for the party of Christ, the party of family values. Now, again, the challenge is, what are other Republicans going to do? Not even just Trump's rivals. I mean, the one who will probably come closest to condemning him for this is Chris Christie. And I doubt even Chris Christie will go that far, right? Because even though it's perfectly legally defensible, even Chris Christie is trying to hedge a little bit in terms of, what he's willing to accuse Donald Trump of doing. But the fact of the matter is, this should be enough to drive all of Donald Trump's support away from him, if nothing else. And there's obviously plenty of other things that a sane person would find off-putting about Donald Trump, given that he incited an insurrection, given his pathological lying, given his malignant narcissism. But the fact that a judge is saying, hey, a jury has found you guilty of rape, that should be the end of his political career. But I'm betting it won't be.